Hey guys, I'm Mike Gamer back here for another video, guys. Before I start this video real fast, I want to say I am running a double Xbox One and PS4 giveaway. Now the steps to enter is subscribe to the channel and comment on the giveaway video. Do not comment on this video with your PSN and GT. Comment on the giveaway video. Link down below in the description, card right hand corner, and end screen will also have the video. So again, do not comment on this video, comment on the giveaway video. Let's get right into the video. Hey guys, I'm Mike Gamer back here for another video. Welcome back to episode of my daily Sniping Series. Guys, let's get started right away. Comment coming in today from RL Gaming 21. He said top 5 players that might get released from the big contract. Now, I took that comment, I kind of rephrased it because of the fact that I more or less wanted to talk about 5 players that just recently signed big contracts or contracts in general because of free agency, and then they ended up they ended up might get cut because they might not be that great in a new landing spot. With that in mind, let's get started with number 1. Now I want to start by saying all these players, I honestly pretty much every single player I'm about to list I think will have a great season this season, but these all 5 potential players that could have a bust season and be cut after they just signed a deal. Now, number 1 is going to be Brandon Marshall. Now, again, with Brandon Marshall, again, with these players, I do have to look at the negative side, guys. So, obviously, Brandon Marshall could do wonders. He could do great, and it could be a great time for him. But, obviously, we could look at the other direction where it's still a little bit too crowded in New York to have him there. So they do have Odell Beckham. They do have Sterling Shepard that now is coming up out of nowhere after his first season last year. Did pretty well. Now they did draft a tight end in the first round. And Paul Perkins is going to be, still there with Shane Vereen. So it's going to be an interesting concept to see how all those mouths are going to be fed. With that in mind, Brandon Marshall does have an injury issue, like injury history. So it's going to be interesting to see how he can really truly get over that, and if he truly can, come back and be a monster. Because obviously, this is going to be the best quarterback he's ever had. And I believe that, let's see, going back, he was with Denver, but his quarterback then was Jay Cutler. He was with Miami, I believe. I forget who. I think his quarterback was Chad Pennington. I believe I might be incorrect on that one. But this actually, I think this is gonna be the best quarterback he's ever had in his whole entire career. So the only thing I can see that would be going on wrong with him right now would be just the fact that he is in a too many mouths to feed offense, and he just won't have that great of a year. Now, that will not lead to him being cut, obviously. That would not lead him to terminate his contract. But what it will lead to is if he does get injured, because he is older and he, obviously is not as young as he used to be, a bad injury could cost him his career and cause him to retire. So with that in mind, don't be surprised if, one little bad injury and my man is out. So with that in mind, let's go on to the next player we have here. It's going to be Alshon Jeffrey. Now, Alshon Jeffrey did sign with the Philadelphia Eagles. He signed a 1-year deal, turning down offers by the Baltimore Ravens and by the Minnesota Vikings because he wanted a 1-year prove-it deal. Now, the biggest and worst thing he could have ever done would have been this if it doesn't work out, because the fact of the matter is Alshon Jeffrey is not known for staying on the field. He is one of the biggest injury concerns in the league, and not only that, to end last season, what did he do? He did PEDs and got caught doing PEDs and got suspended last 4 games of last season. So with that in mind, he is now coming this season on a brand new team in an offense that does have a young quarterback. Now, don't get me wrong, Carson Wentz is amazing, but with that in mind, last season his receivers really didn't help him out, and I don't know how much Alshon Jeffrey coming in is going to change that. Obviously, they did also bring in Torrey Smith, and LeGarrette Blount, which we'll talk about on the next person. But with this in mind, if Alshon does have another either injury-filled year or he just truly regresses and becomes not that great anymore, it's definitely going to be an issue for him, and would not be surprised if, the Eagles are not very interested in re-signing him. With that in mind, next guy we do have here is going to be LeGarrette Blount. Now, LeGarrette Blount this offseason had quite an interesting ride, being kind of like haggled with by the New England Patriots. He ended up leaving the Patriots and going to the Philadelphia Eagles, which I don't know how I feel about that one, because the Eagles last season, running-wise, they did not run the ball. And obviously that's because Ryan Matthews never got anything going. Darren Sproles is more of an out the backfield type of catching back. And with that in mind, it's just when they get to the red zone, I feel like with all the new weapons they have for Carson Wentz, they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. I do not think LeGarrette Blount obviously is not going to repeat his what's called last year performance with New England Patriots, so he's not going to, have that great season. And with that in mind, once again, his age will come in a huge factor when it comes to re-signing him and extending deals and keeping him on the team for a long time. His age is not going to help him out in any kind of way. So next player we have here is going to be Terrell Pryor. He did join the Washington Redskins after leaving the Cleveland Browns. When he was with the Cleveland Browns, he had 155 targets. I don't think he's going to have even nearly that many targets in Washington. Now with Jamison Crowder coming out of nowhere, they do have Josh Doctson, the first-round pick from a couple years back. Jordan Reed obviously takes up most of the targets. Did lose Pierre Garçon, which, not too much of a bad thing. But with that in mind, Terrell Pryor, first-year receiver last year, is now coming in and is going to do what? He's going to, replace a Deshaun Jackson. He's going to pretty much just come in and try to be that number one receiver. Do I think he's going to be? I think he has true potential, and I definitely feel like last season might have been a little, kind of like up in the air, whether it was truly, him, or if it was just the fact he had 155 targets, and teams didn't really know how to game plan against the Browns because they figured they would beat him anyway. With that in mind, it should be interesting to see what he does in Washington. I don't know if I really think I don't think he's gonna repeat what he did last season, and definitely not getting 155 targets. Definitely not with the fact that this season, Jordan Reed is gonna eat up all those targets. Now, Jordan Reed does not last the whole season ever, so with that in mind, Terrell Pryor is gonna benefit from that. But if Josh Doctson gets going, Terrell Pryor, I'm not touching you. Now, our last player for the video is going to actually be Jeremy Maclin. Now, Jeremy Maclin did join the Baltimore Ravens, and although it's a very exciting pickup, with the Ravens losing Dennis Pitta and Steve Smith, all the targets have to go to somebody, and it's either Danny Woodhead at this point or it's going to be Jeremy Maclin. Now, Jeremy Maclin did miss most of last season with an injury, so this season definitely not going to be that great going into it, with the fact that he could re-injure his injury. And if he does get re-injured, it's not going to last long. Let's just say that. He's not going to be in the league for long if he does get re-injured, because, after the Ravens, I think he's kind of would be done with. Especially if the injury is in any way really, really bad. So I think Maclin is going to have a good season, but, there's always a possibility that he just comes to Baltimore, does the same thing he did last year with the Chiefs where he got injured, and, he's going to get a lot of targets. He's definitely him and Danny Woodhead, although I don't think they're going to last even half the season. I definitely know that they're going to get as many targets as humanly possible, so at least that's the one thing they can look forward to, that they're going to literally get pampered with targets after targets after targets after targets. So with that in mind, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like button, subscribe, share, and new. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.